welcome to the YouTube channel of Jennifer Ashira Ra and all that comes with it. Subscribe below, join our community of light, and enjoy all of the recordings and activations and initiations and events and gatherings. You can find me at lightpriestesstemple.com. Hello, beloveds, and I am Jennifer Ashira Ra, and so much is coming in for us right now, and I wanted to let's come on and talk plain truths, and the original wisdoms are coming back in, and I'm hearing so much from the community and all our beloveds on many different subjects. So we're going to cover a lot today. It's time to really just take the gloves off and really let's connect and discuss the truths, because in the spiritual space there's so much that's shared, and it's beautiful that we can just come on and share and connect and really have folks and community remember by what we share. But there's a lot that I've noticed isn't quite the truth, and so there's a discernment. And so how do you discern between light and dark, or like that subtle gray where it's a little bit not so sure, right? Your body is like doesn't quite know how to take some information in the spiritual space that you might be hearing, or an avenue or a channel that you have always gone to, and then all of a sudden it starts to feel different in your body. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about when you have come from another career. I had a clothing business for 16 years, and all of a sudden, one day I heard a voice that was not mine, and it said, enjoy your last photo shoot, which takes me usually 3 months to prepare. I usually worked weekends for about 3 months to prepare our next season and our next catalog for our models and for our clothing line. And they said, enjoy it, because it wasn't always enjoyable. It was a lot of work and a lot of stress, and they said enjoy it because this is going to be your last one. And it was like, whoa, wait a second. And it was right after 2012, and it took time for that to unwind and for this new chapter in my life. I saw it as one chapter and two chapters. That's how my life was. Some beloveds are 17, 18, 19, and they're right on it, and they don't have that. But a lot of us had another career because the planet, I feel, was about 10 years behind, and because there was beings that were going to relinquish their positions and they didn't, because they kind of got used to the power and they kind of liked it, and so things got delayed, and I feel like we stayed in things longer. I feel like I was in a waiting room for years, just kind of waiting, and then I had that in-between worlds where I thought it was going to be 2 years, like, woo, 2 years, and I had built income, and I'd built a platform for myself financially, so I could do that, because Spirit knew that if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to step away from something that became so lucrative and so comfortable. Like, I'd gone from $100 starting. There was a time when I couldn't quite make my bills, and I had no money from Friday to Monday till my UPS COD check came. Remember those back in the day? They actually would bring you a check in the mail, and I was waiting for that check from one of our first orders, and I didn't have money for that weekend. And we have a tendency then to get frustrated or throw in the towel, or have you ever felt that? And so I went through that for many years. I started 3 businesses, and then the third one became the clothing line, and took off and became a 16-year journey for me, and then no longer. And so what does that look like? Are you in that? Have you been called to step away from a career or a way of being or a city or a corporate job that no longer serves your highest soul's destiny? Because it's all about stepping into that to open the new golden age. And then the original wisdoms, coming in, the Piscean wisdoms of what we've known, how ascended masters are above us, and wow, Jesus or Mary Magdalene or Buddha or Kuan Yin, Shiva, like, wow, they're up there, and like, we're mortals. Well, no, you're on the ascended mastery path in different facets, and we're all masters on this planet. And we are just remembering again in different ways. And you are a creator and initiator of the new golden age in a facet, because all together we create the whole, and we're all doing this together. And the new ascended masters that are rising are you. And there is first rung, second rung of ascended mastery that's opening right now. It started opening probably about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. So it's no longer even just high priestess that you would go back and you would remember from a previous incarnation. You receive all your initiations from your millions of lives before you ever step foot on this planet. And this planet is a seeding of all the galaxies. And this galaxy that we know of, Mercury and Earth and Pluto and Neptune and our central sun that we have here, was created by a tribe of high beings, very high beings, with source, always with source. It's always one. And so as you in the spiritual world, how I have been shown, and what this is, my family are the golden beings. I come from that. I am one of the creators of this galaxy. I don't usually say that, but you know what? It's time to speak the truth. I hold many thrones. I hold many realms of light that I have held or walked or led or been a partner of or created over millions and millions of lives. And I chose to come back in service and solitude for about 10,000 years on this planet to really help, since Atlantis exploded about 12,000 years ago, and we all had to come back together and really help seed a new way of the new golden age. And that is what is birthing now. And so I kind of backtrack a little, but this is the next energy, and the ascended masters are all now coming out, and they're all activating, and your gifts and masteries all were initiated before you ever took a breath on this planet, and that is what you are bringing back. So when you go to like we have an initiation ceremony or we have an activation, I don't give you that. No human can bestow a high crystalline or golden realm name on you or ordination. It is really, you've had it from within, and we create the space and we remember again, and then we honor you and we initiate you. But it's like really a reinitiation, because those codes are within you. You went through the initiation process. You held realms. You guided planetary systems. You discovered new inventions. You have done so much that now you're bringing your gifts and masteries to the planet. And my calling, and why I left the garment industry, and why I walked away from that way of being after some negotiation, because I couldn't quite understand why one would do that. No one around me, my advisors, the lawyers, and they're like, "What are you doing? You're doing so well right now. Why would you do that?" And so it made no sense. But I wasn't that happy. So as you come into this planet, you have initiations, you have gifts and masteries that you have said you're going to now seed and grid into the ley lines and help humanity with your specific gifts and masteries. And many of us, there was a time when I never even wanted to come online. I was shown before any pandemic happened to do Zoom and live gatherings together, and my brain literally wanted to explode. That I am not technical. It hurts my brain. It tires me out and depletes me. I'm not technical. And I would do Zooms. There was a time when I would do Zooms and somehow create 2 links. I don't know how I did that. And like 3 people are here, and there's like a whole bunch over here, and I'm with the 3 people, and the whole bunch are super angry. And they're like, "Where is this event? Who is this woman?" And I'm like, "What happened?" No clue how that happened. I've come a long way. So there was a time when I didn't even know how to do Zoom right. And we all get frustrated, and I could have thrown in the towel. But have you ever been there? Are you being pushed a little? So they were having me practice that way before being online was kind of a thing. So, and I went with it, and I trusted, and look at how much I've learned. And wow, I had to push my edges. And it really, when you step into your ascended mastery path, it'll push your edges. It'll open you, and it will ask a lot of you. And your voice is not meant to be secret. Your voice and your stories and your experience is the fuel to sharing and speaking and opening your voice. So all your stories and all your experiences that you have cultivated in this life and in many lives, if you remember many lives, because so many lives are coming in now, it's prolific. And if you are remembering that, is that this is your fuel to be and all like the failures you've experienced and the breakups and I wish I had done that differently. That is all of those mistakes makes you perfect to be a change agent for transformation on this planet, because people can relate to you and they will understand you because they've done it too. Haven't you? You know, there's a time when I would make mistakes in my business and I just would literally I couldn't sleep at night because I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know how to get a solution and how to figure it out. And then we just get so frustrated and we don't want to continue and we want to just do something else or escape somehow. Have you ever felt that? And has you ever been there? Well, this path of your golden destiny and your heart and your gifts and masteries is it's so vulnerable. It's like your heart is on your sleeve. It's so out there. I could hide behind my models or my catalog or my clothing in a clothing business, but this business, I'm right here. I'm right in front of you now. And this has not been I can't say I'm a lover of being visible. I would love to be behind the scenes and sketching. I love to draw and I love to be behind the scenes and create and then have the models in the front and just design and have my clothing or my designs out there. And that is what is my safe space. And so I've been pushed out of my safe space. And have you been pushed out of your safe space? And so your gifts and masteries all were from before you ever incarnated, and you have made a choice and you are a yes to come onto the planet and activate these again. And there's levels of activation. Some are like, I don't want to be visible. I don't want to get that energy coming at me of, people that don't agree or don't like what I'm saying, and I don't quite have the confidence yet. And it's all about getting that confidence. And I went through a huge explosion this year, early in spring, where I thought I saw it all running a business for 16 years in a very fast-paced, very aggressive industry and very like deadline-oriented industry. And I thought I'd seen it all. And I really saw new levels of being broken. And what they've shown me is that we're reaching a new level of confidence where you don't get the confidence from the normal way, from the outside way, but now the confidence is coming through your sacred gifts, through being on sacred sites, through being on the land. I'm coming to you from the big island of Hawaii, that are the mountaintops of Lemuria, where I've been called to activate the new temples of light and the new source center for the new golden age. I've been traveling for 7 years to sacred sites. I go where they call me. I have never gone one place just on my own whim. I was on the Mediterranean side through Egypt, Turkey, Crete, Greece, and Cyprus, opening the new humankind of light portal and grids, and the eastern ley line that Mother Mary walked, and the western ley line we all know Mary Magdalene walked, from Galilee through south of France up to the Isle of Skye in Scotland. And what I thought was the ley lines of, this was last summer, what I thought was the ley lines of the Magdalene and of the Avalon and through Glastonbury, really one of the true ley lines that went into secrecy, because always the big ones are not the ones that everyone knows about. Unfortunately, a lot of the ones that go through from Atlantis up through Glastonbury up into that part of England, a lot have been co-opted because they were very well known, and so a lot of the light workers have been going to rectify that and to align that and balance that. And just so you know, and one of the main ley lines that came online and we opened in the Galactic New Year about a year ago was from Isle of Skye through Rosslyn Chapel, which goes right into Cappadocia, Turkey, where Mother Mary seated a carved out rose stone temple that's carved into the soft stone volcanic rose colored rock in that area. It's like they can carve their homes. It's this beautiful soft sandstone. And I hadn't really realized the eastern ley line had been gridded by Mother Mary. So we gridded that last year. Now I'm on the whole other side of the planet, having gone through California and a water temple there that held the 12 master codes for the 12 dimensional energies, that only the third dimensional was opened, and the rest are in safekeeping from incarnations. This is the 5th human incarnation on planet Earth. Planet Earth has been here billions of years. There was a 4th incarnation, a 3rd, 2nd, where there were temples, and Egypt was in the area of Sedona and the Grand Canyon. There are temples still there where you can see Ra and you can see Osiris, and you can see, carvings of a little bit of a beak of, Ra and of Thoth and of Isis, and there's a lot that happened in that 4th incarnation, and man, was that powerful. And that's where a lot happened for me the early part of this year. That was not fun, and it broke me. And so now this new confidence, where it took about 6 months for me to, as I sit in these sacred sites that are, even some are created out of the lava here from the current lava flows that resemble huge sacred objects that I saw in the Crete Knossos temple, or I've seen in the Hathor temple, that I see in the lava. It's just magical here. And they're saying this is where you get your power, and it's unbreakable. I won't be shattered because it won't be from a Piscean way of receiving confidence or self-confidence or having that sovereignty. This is a new way. So I just want to invite you to, as I share these ways of being that I know as a creator of one of the creators of this galaxy, a tribe of light. So as you move higher in the spiritual world, what I've been shown, and I only share what I know, and if it doesn't resonate, just let it roll off your back. And, but I know where I come from is truth. I don't come from manipulation. I don't come from trying to earn money. I created all my wealth with my clothing business. And so my intention, and I do charge for some events and offerings now because I used to do everything for free, and it's not as honored sometimes when you give away everything for free. And I invite you to honor charging, and hours go into events and pilgrimages and activations. Hours. It's a labor of love, isn't it? Especially when you get into graphics. Graphics is like the black hole. You create an art, and then you sit and you tweak it, and then you come back the next day, and it's like, oh no, I like this photo better, and it's like you start all over, and it's like, oh, like 5 hours later. So it's such a gift, and it's a creative outlet for me, and I love doing some of it, and then I have a team also that helps me. But it's, there was a time when I did everything on my own, and so as we open this, and so as we as we go back to, as you move higher in source from billions and billions and millions of years of having incarnations, because you've had millions of incarnations, and you travel with a soul tribe of about 144 souls, or the main soul tribe, and then you have offsets from that, and it goes 1, and then you split, and then it's 2, so that's the twin flame, the twin soul. There is that. I've met mine. He was in a masculine form. I met him when I was in Paris, and I started speaking old world English to him, and I said things like, I have missed you. I had just met him, and I lost all just sense of physicalness when we touched, and I'd never felt anything like this. My whole body, and so did he. It's like this silver light just went through me. So those things are happening, and then it splits to 4, then 8, 16, and then it becomes kind of soulmates, or like about 16 on. And these are beloved souls you walk with, and you're with some of them right now in your life, and that's why you have a familiarity with them. And some it's deep, some it's really difficult because you had a really tough life, and the last life you got to work it out, and you just mirror that with each other. And so as you move higher in the spiritual world through service and devotion, and never once breaking your vows, and your vows are the gifts and masteries you have and the powers you have that are they're only used for service and of the light, not manipulation, not self-empowerment, and not self-aggrandizement or self-promotion. And it does happen. Happening now very pervasively in the spiritual space, and some is very subtle. So as you move higher and you haven't broken your vows once, one of the highest jobs there is creating universe, and you get a swath of galaxy, and you create a universe. And the universe we're in right here in this galaxy with the sun and Mercury and Pluto and Earth and Neptune and Uranus and Jupiter and Venus is a galaxy of union, and it's the practice of union. Either you're moving towards union or away from union. And so when you hear about full moons and new suns, it's always about, and now it's going to make you more this, and you're going to come into wholeness, and you're going to get that Piscean aspect or that Aries aspect, and it's going to come more into balance, or it's going to fall away. And like Scorpio, you're going to shed a lot, and the murkiness will come up for you to feel and release. And it's all about moving towards source and away from source, towards union and away from union. That is the school of this galaxy we're in. And it was created for that purpose. And so this golden sun tribe of beings, Father Ra, Mother Mut, Isis, Osiris, well, Oset, and Asar is Osiris' Egyptian name, and they have light language names. I'm one of them as well. And I might not have temples. I never chose to have temples in my name, but I'm one of them as well. And I only share this because to know that we're all here again, and you run realms. I have met sisters that come from other universes, and they have only kind of dabbled here. Like I've dabbled in other universes, and galaxies, but I'm really here more and a part of this more, where Ra and some of the other beings have actually physically created other universes and other galaxies. And so with that is the knowing that and so these beings I was sitting with, they're like, yeah, I came from, like we were talking about Osho, and how he came from another universe, a very high being, and came here. And then I saw how the beautiful sister sharing also came from that same universe with Osho, because they were really connected energetically. And I was like, wow, I see that kind of fence they jumped over to come into this universe, and I really could see it with our conversation. And that doesn't resonate that was my path, but that others are coming here to give their gifts and be here and help us awaken this planet, and especially this Earth, this garden planet, this Earth star. She's arising into her ascension as well, is opening and gridding the new age, and opening in she's moving from being like the Pachamama, the Terra, the Earth, that's kind of the Piscean way, is now moving into her Earth star, golden being, golden age. The golden is the next level from crystalline, so it's carbon, and then it went through crystalline, which is like crystalline DNA and crystalline codes and diamond light codes, remember all of that? Well, then it moved into photonic plasma, every crystal frequency in a light. It's a whole new way of light. It's like a band, and it has no headaches, no after effects. It's when we do activations, we use this new light now. It started about 2 years ago when I was living in Bali. We started moving from diamond we moved to the plasma light, and this new light and this new energy. And so it goes from carbon to crystalline to the golden. And it's not gold like gold bricks. It's golden intelligence. It's what creates universes. It's this golden liquid intelligence, and that is where we're going with the golden age, and that is the source center. There's a golden energy that is inside the new golden temple of light that activated in the Lemurian mountaintops, that is here. That is the temple all the ascended masters and all of humanity will move through as they ascend into ascended mastery levels and leadership levels and higher levels. And you might feel a deep calling that you're being asked to step into a higher mastery or a higher way of being. And there was a time when I couldn't even imagine that. And have you ever felt that? Like, wow, I couldn't. And then all of a sudden you're leading offerings, and you have a circle, and you're on YouTube, or you are holding space in your community centers, and you're giving your gifts, and you're sharing your knowledge and your original wisdoms, because the original wisdoms are coming back. A lot of the Piscean ways are the half, kind of the bridge, like the Kundalini energy, for example. The Kundalini is the heat rising in the body as you come together in Hieros, which is like sexual union, or you rise it through just a yogic practice, through the base from the root, and it comes up and it's a heat, and it goes through the Shushmana and the Ida Pingala up through, and then into the pineal, and then even you can see kind of like the energies meeting, and it creates this whole Kundalini awakening. And many beloveds have had that, and I would imagine that you have that experience, or you felt something like that. And so what I've been shown is that was the bridge, so we can remember conceiving universes and codes and children and beings. There's a way called light conception, where that bridge where you have to come together in hieroskamos as a man and a woman, a lingam and a yoni. Well, that is a lower vibration than in Mu, the original times in Mu, when you were all in one, an inner union, a crystalline body, or kind of a liquidy membrane. You're just light. And you didn't have that separation. You didn't have to find a partner. You were the partner. You were that union. And so, and then there was a independence wanted, and then a whole searching and a journey, and what's over there, and then a little bit of a change and a breaking of that union. And then that's now slowly, hundreds of thousands of years, coming back into wholeness, as we're now moving more back into union and finding that again. And this has been a journey, and there's much to be shared, but much what's being shared right now is the Piscean way, or we're seeing it through a Piscean lens, and that we're moving into the golden age. And even how, if you're leaving a corporate job, or you're being called to walk away from an income, or you're supporting your family and you're supposed to go into something else. Mine was a 5-year in between worlds, a chrysalis, where nothing came in, like no a job. We would talk about, a yoga line, or using my clothing skills, which I kind of didn't want to do anymore at all. Like that, I was done. I had pretty much been burned out for probably 11 years of the 16. I just kept pushing myself. And that pushing energy was really not so great with being in self-care and honoring my divine feminine. So my body started creating cysts and lumps and bumps because I pushed things down. My divine feminine wasn't honored during many of those years of my life. And now I do honor it, and I do have balance, and I do take the time. But I had a 2-year that became a 5+ year of nothing coming in. I didn't have downloads. I didn't channel. I was thinking, maybe I'll be a life coach. And I even made a little sample card, and my friend just laughed. He's like, "You're not a life coach." And I'm like, "I don't think I am either." But I didn't know what I was, just kind of trying to figure it out. Nothing was coming in. I was like 5 years in, and I still didn't have answers. And I had a beautiful life, but it wasn't fulfilling. I do like projects. I do like a direction. I do like to share gifts in the world, and I wasn't being asked to do anything. And then it slowly started to come in. I slowly started to sit on waterfalls and grid. I was being asked to grid, and one of my first jobs was in Northern California at the Russian Gulch waterfall, the Shakti vortex, and it's so beautiful. And they said, go every other day for 30 days. Do your mala beads as you walk down the path, and sit on, and then anchor it and bring rose petals. I had to always find roses and anchor it, because the rose petals are protection, and especially the thorns. So if you put that around a circle, the roses with that divine love frequency are huge protection. And that's how I started. And slowly things started to come in. I slowly started to kind of be passed around the rainbow bridge of beings, and native beloveds came in from the land who wanted to move on, and which I hadn't worked with before. There were thousands of them that were stuck from being in trauma and not moving on in their lives. And then it just kind of grew from there, and then it really moved fast. But it was really from 0 to like 100. I didn't do anything for about 5 years. And so sisters say, when am I going to be able to do my offerings? I do something that doesn't really hit, and people don't really respond, and I need to make an income. And if it comes from there, it's coming from the mind and the old ways, and that's not the new ways. And I know it's like but we have to pay our bills, and maybe there's a way to work part-time. I remember when I started my clothing business, I worked part-time for someone for about a year just for that business. So I had some money, and I paid my rent, and I covered my overhead. It's really important to feel covered, and to feel and to have that protection, and to have that knowing that you have a home to come to, and you can pay your electric bill and your phone bill, and put food on the table, and take care of your family. And it's very important, so that you're not in fight and flight. Because if you are, then you are not in creation, and you're not in the heart. You're in a tight place. The amygdala gland is the center of fight or flight. And that is when you open your heart, and you open that magnetic field of your divine, juicy heart center, and that golden light, that creates oxytocin, which then turns on your neurotransmitters, which then open, and it shuts down the amygdala and only allows the joy and bliss in. And so you can be in that in loveness for no reason. And so there's so much coming in for us, and there's so much. But I just wanted to share that, is that if you're in that in-between world of going from one career to another, there's no answer to when you'll know, but you'll know is when you're in the flow and it feels right and it alivens your body, not a force to make money, because then there's no devotion and there's no new Aquarian golden age energy behind that. That's like a way to make money, and that is not why you're sharing your gifts and masteries. The money will come, but you first have to open your heart and step into that beautiful gifts and masteries that you had been initiated for millions of years to come in, is to create that beautiful safe space, that temple, that financially you've saved up enough so you have a 6 month, they always say have 6 months of money, and if that's possible, is to have that so you can walk in this kind of sabbatical to meet your next life. And to do that, I was lucky to be able to have created a business that with my investments, I can then walk this path, and I do not do this for the money. Almost every offering I do is newly channeled. I have not been able to pull something out from last year and just offer it because, oh, that did great last year, I can do it. I wish everything you'll ever be in with me is brand new. And if it has a similar name, which I haven't even done that, but if it does, it'll have a whole new syllabus and a whole new methodology. Because things are shifting every week now. If you do something even a month later, it's all different. So just be careful who you're listening to. I wanted to just touch on that too with what's out there. There's what's happening, and I'm seeing is some beloveds in the spiritual space who were great, and you really went to them, and they are really stuck into what they stuck in their vein of talent and gifts and masteries. And then as they get super popular, they start talking about this and start talking about this. And when I see that, and my body tightens when they say something, because I don't feel it's a truth, and it's not what was their talent and mastery. I feel like maybe they're pushing, or maybe their handlers are pushing, and it's not the truth. And even some, it's manipulative. They've been a little co-opted, and it's so subtle sometimes, because it's like a bunch of truths and then a little bit of subtle, bunch of truths, and just watch how you feel. So before you take anything in as fact from any authority figure that you feel has authority or knowledge or wisdom, from one day to the next, take it in your body, feel it first. Is this a truth for you? Does this in resonance? And if you're like, yeah, that really feels true, okay. But if you're listening to someone and you tighten, or you're like, wow, I'm not sure about that, write it down and then take it in your body, or put it on pause if you're listening to recording. And always honor your body. Your body temple is your guidance center. Your feelings are your dashboard, and your guidance center for what is true. It's all your Akashic energies and lifetimes are written in your cells. And so I do muscle testing. I put my hands on my heart and I fall forward when I ask a question. I have a sister who she falls back is a yes. My fall forward is a yes. And sometimes my mind is too preoccupied or wants an answer, and I have to go past my mind, and I do body testing. And so that might be something that resonates for you. And so much is coming in for all of us, and for us to hear the truths. And I'm going to start sharing a lot more about these original wisdoms and the truths and the Soultribe and the golden new temples that are coming in, and how to walk this and how to discern the light from the dark, because it can be kind of gray sometimes, with even something coming in to you, offering you something. And if it ever feels outside of you coming in, like a fame or riches, or something that is a wound. So Father Ra always says, if you have big wounds in your field or something you haven't healed, that's how they're going to get in. They're going to offer you exactly what's going to fill that wound, and you're going to be like, wow, I can have that, and that would be my life. Okay, yes, what do you need from me? And then they ask something from you, and once kind of that contract has been established, they own you. It's hard to get out of those contracts. You can get out, but you have to then really do some work to get out of those and shut that door and never go back to having agreed to that. They give you about a 3 to 6 month. And I've seen beloveds lose all of their light powers of the light, because they kind of went to the other side. And it's always conscious, maybe not right here, but you made a soul choice. That person made a soul choice to give over some codes or some ways of being, or do some work for them, and to get something that will give them some fame or riches, something outside of them. It's always something outside of you. When you know it's from the light, it just comes from within. There's no grabbing or grasping or jealousy or that's my lane, get out of my lane. I do these kind of offerings. You do those kind of offerings. That would be someone kind of operating in that shallow old Piscean way of like, this is mine, that's yours. It's all ours, and we're all together in this, and the sharing energy and the open energy. And when you know it's of the light, it comes from within. So let's say there's a book inside of you that needs to be birthed. It would be when you maybe you journal and you talk to your guides, or you bring in energy, or you ask questions of your guides and angels. And the answer is it will really benefit the planet if you are willing to birth this. And it's from within you. You have this knowledge. You're not getting it from them. It's never outside. If it's outside, it's look at it again, because it might be something of a dark energy coming in. And I've seen it so much around me in beloveds that were my friends, that people that stayed at my house, and all of a sudden they shift, and mood swings, huge mood swings in someone is a big sign. Chaos, where they're very chaotic, is a sign that they have these deep wounds, that they're actually being possibly manipulated. And a lot of change in their energy field, and it doesn't feel good. It's very mercurial. They're like very moody, like from like, hey, to like, don't talk to me, or why did I pick you up, or and you're like, whoa, where'd that come from? Watch, because what I've seen is that's the signs that there is some energies that are within that person and manipulating that person, because they can't hold a balanced, even keel, and they might really eat poorly. Really feeding sugar, like kind of, eating a lot of wheat, a lot of just things that'll really give them that sugar high. And then that also gives them more moodiness, having a really poor diet. What you put in your body is very important. I eat light. I eat raw, mostly raw. And I'm eating light because I am light. And so I don't even eat as much anymore. I don't even eat breakfast. I don't eat until maybe 3. I'll have some fruit in the day, and then I'll do some salad at night, or even more savory fruits. I like to eat savory fruits like tomatoes or cucumbers, and make like tabbouleh salads and things, but no grains. And I'm perfectly fine. It's amazing when you move into a different way of eating. You don't have all that recuperation from heavy meals. And I don't eat flesh, and I changed maybe about 4 years ago. I used to eat everything, omnivore, meat and cheese and all of that. And then I stopped, and I followed a doctor that out of Florida that I really love, and he really explained it all, and how the body is so simple, lymphatic and blood, and how the lymphatic is so important, and that's where all the disease comes from. And what you put in your mouth creates a lot. And so are you creating light with what you put in your mouth? Are you creating a huge time where your body has to heal and digest it? It takes a lot to digest dense foods. And so I just, it's a lot for us, but I just wanted to put some things out there of how I walk my path, and how what I'm feeling and what I'm hearing, and for all of us to walk together. And I invite you to join us in our events and our gatherings, where you meet your soul tribe and you meet the other ascended masters on the mastery path, and the leaders and wayshowers of the new golden age, because that is the golden priest and priestesses of the new age are gathering. And so I thank you and I honor you, and I'm so excited that we had this time to connect together. And find me at lightpriestesstemple.com. Join the community of light if you haven't. Subscribe and be a part of this channel, as I'm going to start really speaking some of the truths and some of the original wisdoms, and of the Sun Tribe, and of the golden beings of light, and of the truth that, it's always been about the sun. We used to do ceremony midday in the center of the square in the palace, not hiding, and then it became, we had to hide, and then it became the moon. It's never been about the moon. It's always been about the sun. And the sun is the giver of life, and the moon reflects. And all we had was the moon, so we kind of made it into something great. But the moon reflects, and it has its beautiful powers, but the power that it has been a little manipulated. And even the sun just moved back into being its original sun. If you've noticed that the sun has gotten stronger energetically in the sun flares, well, it was a co-opted sun for I don't know how many thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years. And it is now back to its original sun. And there are many suns. This is one of the many, but it is the life giver, and it is pure source. And it's always about the sun, the giver of life, and the original creation codes, the 369. And so I send you so much love and blessings, and subscribe and walk with us and join us in the temple for all of our activations and gatherings and pilgrimages. We have so much coming up. And I send you so much love from Lemuria and from my heart to yours. And I'm Jennifer Ashira Ra, and activate your highest codes. Much love.